Happy Tuesday!
Tuesday, we're both awake. We both have makeup on. How is that possible?
How is that possible? This is Nichole Nordeman. I don't know which side she's on of me, but I am so excited to have her here. Nichole, I have to make you blush a little bit and tell you that the song, the Every Season song, was the soundtrack to my high school experience. It was just such a special song to me, and I have such vivid memories of high school of like those angsty years where you're looking for something to cling to that's really steady.
Yes.
And my girlfriends and I sitting in my friend had a red Mustang, and I can remember sitting in her Mustang and like belting the words to that song.
Oh, that's awesome. That means a lot to me. Thank you, Emily.
It's so great. And then obviously Slow Down has just impacted so many people and myself as well. So we will dive into that in a minute, but I just had to say I'm such a fan, and I met Nichole actually on the Belong Tour last year at the Tampa Stop, and I just loved hearing from you and hearing your stories of motherhood and like what it's looked like for you, and the ups and downs, and like how you found such peace and grace in the middle of it. Because of all the things in my life, I would really love to simplify, and that's what we've been talking about this whole workshop. Of all the things I would love to simplify, I think that is the most complicated thing in my life.
Yeah.
It's like the best, easiest, hardest, most gut-wrenching, fantastic thing.
Yep. That's all of the things. It's messy. It's messy.
So messy. And I went through years of infertility, so it's like to get here and to have 3 precious kids, I'm like, have this like soft spot in my heart where I'm like, I just don't want to miss anything.
Yeah. Yes.
It goes so fast, and it's never going to be simplified. So when we decided, Nichole and I actually have the same book team. So Nichole has a book called Slow Down that I highly, highly, highly recommend for any mamas out there. It is so good, and actually has pieces from Shauna Niequist and Jen Hatmaker, who we love, in here as well. But I just, it's just so hard, It's just it's a hard thing to simplify. So I just can't wait to dive in.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be chatting with you this morning about all this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, so you have 2 little ones, right? You have Charlie.
Not anymore. I think I'll always call them babies, of course, but Charlie is 14 and Pepper will be 9 in a couple of days.
Oh my goodness.
Unthinkable to me. It's not right. I'm not happy about it.
So in this season of your life as a mom, what does it feel like for you? Is it a different season than when they were tiny? I mean, obviously it's a different season, but like on your heart, is it different?
It's so different in wonderful ways. Like I keep hearing people say like, well, just get ready because, the preteen years, the teen years are coming. It's going to be really hard and just brace yourself. And I kind of feel like I'm just not going to receive that. Like I understand it's a hard time because so much is happening in their bodies and in their minds and their spirits. But so far it's been wonderful with my 14-year-old. We have a great relationship, such a wonderful human being. And I'm just not like, I don't feel like I want to prepare for the dreadful teen years. I want to just kind of enjoy exactly where we are right now and look forward to what's coming.
Yeah. My husband and I always say when people give us that, like, oh, wait till they get in kindergarten or wait till they're 3.
Just wait. Yeah.
Well, we're always like, unsubscribe.
Right.
We don't want to hear it. I can remember being like, I was in Target one time and I was pregnant with twins and like barely could walk. And I remember this woman being like, wow, just you wait until what it's going to be like when you have 3 kids walking around in Target. And I was like, I remember looking at her and just instinctually saying, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like I hoped and prayed for these babies that I never thought I would have. And I cannot wait for the chaos of Target.
Right. Which doesn't mean there aren't really hard moments, but I think a lot of how much we enjoy parenting has to do with just our attitude and perspective about it. If we're dreading it, then it's probably going to be dreadful.
And that is exactly it. So when I wrote A Simplified Life, we put a chapter in there about motherhood, and it's about finding grace in a deeply important role.
Sure.
And when Jen, my editor, and I were talking about it, I was like, are we sure we want to include this chapter? Because when is motherhood ever simplified? And it's crazy to even think about putting those 2 words together. But 90% of it for me, and I think for you too, is perspective and like reminding you, finding the grace in the craziness and also like the beauty in it, that it doesn't, for me, it's calm. Like it's so chaotic with the little ones right now. And I'm like thirsty for the calm. And for me, that's simple, but it's never going to be that because they have huge personalities and they're loud. And so it's just a perspective thing, you know?
It is. And I think too, one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got from a mom who is a little older than me and kind of further down the path was that you really, when your kids are small, like yours are, like it's just nonstop physical exhaustion. Like it's just absolute exhaustion all the time and wonderful.
Right.
But you're tired. Like you literally are just giving. And I think when they get older, the main difference is that you trade that for more emotional exhaustion. Like the questions are harder, the challenges are emotional or psychological. You know, it's not. And I remember that mom saying to me, there will come a time when your child heads out the door with his keys to drive to a football game on a Friday night, and you will wish for diapers. Like you will wish for the simplicity of that physical exhaustion, you know, like when it was just crushed Cheerios and crying all night. Like that will, so you know, there is a little bit of grass. It's always greener. But it is
goosebumps at the thought of simplicity in diapers. Like, I remember when the twins were born, and we were even more so with Brady. We had a pretty traumatic pregnancy with Brady, where we were high risk, and they thought everything was wrong with him. And when he was born, I remember thinking, like, I'm so glad you're out, but I almost wish you were back inside because there's simplicity in knowing you're safe, and I am, for the most part, in control of you, like what you're getting to eat, and that you're warm, and you know. Simplicity there.
There is surrender in all of it. You just so much we don't know and so much we can't know until we're walking right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of it. Yeah. Well, I was reading something about you last night. I was reading an interview that you gave. I think it was recently. And in there you were saying that you, in 2000, let's see, was it 2005 that you decided to step away from work?
Around there, yeah.
Right. And you were saying, like, okay, so between me, you, and the however many people are watching this right now, I have had those feelings where, like, life is so much, and my kids are so special and so important that I want to stop. Like, there's lots going on with this business, with the books, with the things. Like, there are times where I just want to back up and walk away.
Yeah.
And God really laid something on my heart after Grace Not Perfection. My first book was released, and I really just felt like he said to me, I am calling you back inside the walls of your house. Mm-hmm. And so much of what I was doing was public and traveling and doing things, but like he, in that season of having 1.5-year-old twins and 5-year-old at the time, I felt him saying, I want you back inside your home. Yeah. And that was humbling and also like frustrating. Sure. So I was like, no, I can do it. I can do everything. And so at that point, I took a major step back in my work. But in this interview, you said that God told you not to slow down, but to stop.
Yeah.
So walk me through that. Like, what was that decision like for you? And what advice would you have for anybody feeling that way?
Well, you know, I think you just know when you know that it's time to be done. And for me, like that came in a season where I had worked for years and years, and I had a team of people at the record label and management and booking, all these people that have spent years like pushing this up a hill and supporting me and marketing me and promoting me. And you know what it's like. You don't do it by yourself, obviously. But all these people, and then kind of at the height of that, at the height of career success, I had a 1-year-old and a marriage that was on life support and 9 Dove Awards. Like it was like the most, like it just didn't make any sense. Like, God, how could you be really, really blessing this part of me? And I'm so miserable, like personally. I felt like I could be the mom I wanted to be. Marriage-wise, I just needed to fully give everything my attention. And I know my personality. I'm not able to like scale back.
Yeah.
Slow down a little bit. Like there's no, well, I'll just tweak it a little bit, you know?
Right.
It was like very clear, done. Like I need to be done with music and done with ministry until I feel like God has really given me a green light to re-enter that, if ever. so that I can focus on my home life. And it was very hard, like, you know, as you said, very frustrating. Like you feel like you've worked so hard for all this, and at the same time, there's just this tension that you can't reconcile. So
Right.
it's not an easy decision. I would make it again in a heartbeat, though. It was the right decision.
That is awesome and so encouraging. I mean, those big, scary decisions. We shut down the wholesale side of my company last year, which was like half our revenue. And it was Shauna Niequist's book, Present Over Perfect. She has this chapter on chairs, and she talks about like life got really big because we kept putting out the chairs at the church. It just kept growing and growing.
Yes.
And I like sobbed in my bed to my husband and was like, I put out too many chairs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was time for us to take down some chairs. So we made scary decisions, but like they blessed our family in ways that aren't financial. Like they're just so spiritual and so meaningful. I like you. I would make that decision in a heartbeat again, you know? So when you, I love the story in the beginning of your book where you talk about Charlie and how he colored all of the keys on your keyboard, your beloved keyboard black. He covered all of them. And how like that moment, I mean, I can imagine if one of my kids are into coloring on the walls at this point. We own stock in like the magic erasers.
Yeah. Thank God for magic erasers. I feel like that should be like endorsement from me.
Seriously, that's like number one life hack as mom, own all of the magic erasers.
Right.
But when you told that story, I thought it was so funny because I immediately got that feeling of like, oh, the keyboard.
Right. The only thing I care about.
Right.
Like,
the keyboard.
Color on my purses, my bedspread, whatever, but not the keyboard.
But not the keyboard. And then that story kind of morphed into him becoming older, and then you writing the song that went viral and had like 9 gazillion views. The actual number is like 23 million or something higher at this point.
Right.
Slow Down. And I will never forget, I can't remember how old Brady was, but my mom was visiting and she brings me her phone and she's sobbing and she's like, you have to watch this video. I posted it on Instagram yesterday to have everyone watch it because it is so moving. And I'll let you tell the story of Slow Down. It's just such a powerful song and the story behind it is amazing.
Well, so like you said, when Charlie was 3, I think he was so proud of himself for taking a black Sharpie and coloring all of the keys on my beloved keyboard. It's not a nice keyboard, but it's just so sentimental. I've had it since I was like 20.
Yeah.
And he wanted all the keys to be black just because he thought that looked better. Mm-hmm. So it took me ages. And that was actually before magic erasers. So I don't even know how I got all that Sharpie off. But anyway, so he was graduating from the 5th grade and he goes to a small little Christian school, and they had asked me to sing a song for the graduation ceremony, which I was, of course, delighted to do. And then I kind of forgot about it. Like I forgot that I'd agreed to do it. And it was the night before graduation and I'm sitting at my piano like, what in the world am I going to sing to a bunch of middle schoolers? Like, it's not going to make me look super lame and embarrass Charlie. And like, what am I going to even, so I was just feeling very old and very like mom in that way. And so I was practicing some stuff and then I just looked down at this keyboard and there were still just some rogue Sharpie marks left years later. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm launching a middle schooler tomorrow. And I made the grave mistake of pulling out photo albums of, you know, all of the first things, the first steps and the first and I was just instantly like, it just hit me so hard. Like this little boy, like those days are gone and I can't get them back. And I know from other moms, like once we hit middle school, high school, like it is fast. Yeah. So I just started writing this song, Slow Down. It literally just kind of poured out of me. And I was a wreck and sang it the next morning at the little graduation ceremony.
How did you get through it?
Very well. It was pretty ugly.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty ugly. I'm sure he was real proud of that.
Thanks, Mom.
So yeah, and then I kind of thought that was it. I thought that was just kind of a song I wrote for Charlie and his friends, and it would just stay this private little memory. And several of the parents said, you got to do something with that song. Like that's bigger than this moment. So There's some other folks at my record label, and they agreed, and here we are. But I still am so surprised at the response to it. I'm really humbled by it.
It's incredible. And last night I was getting ready for this, and I always end up working at night a little bit after the kids go to bed because it's quiet.
Right.
And so it's quiet at our house, and Brian is in the living room, and he comes in here and he's like, "What do you have on repeat in here?" And it was Slow Down. And I was like, "Sit down, you have to watch this video." And so I made him watch the entire thing. And he looks up at me and he was like, "Are you okay?" Because I was like heaving. It's just so good. And it was great when Brady was born. And now that I have 3 crazy kids, it was like, oh. And I, of course, went straight upstairs and got in my 6-year-old's bed and snuggled him. Of course, because
I know.
Yeah, he used to be this big, and now he's like huge. It's just, it goes so fast. So
it really does. And there's not a lot we can do. I mean, there's nothing we can do actually to slow it down. They're going to grow. They're meant to be independent. They're meant to fly, and all of the things that we've spent our lives teaching them. They're going to do. So I think for me, like the only comfort that I found in that is that learning how to kind of slow myself down. You know, I don't want to rush. I don't want to be annoyed. I don't want to be distracted. Like I want to just be as present as possible for these very moments.
So in Slow Down, there is a part where your mom writes a letter to her younger self, right?
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite parts in here. And I actually want to ask my own mom, like, what would you say to yourself? I mean, I feel like I know what I would say. I'm 34, but I know what I would say to, 28-year-old Emily. And it's a lot.
Yeah, that was so meaningful that she agreed to write. She was so sweet and kind of a little insecure about it because she's not a writer. She's like, I don't want to be a book.
Yeah.
But it's just tell me, just like it's the two of us talking, just what would you say to your younger self?
Yeah.
And it was so humbling, because you grow up thinking that your mom knows everything. Like my memory of her was just so strong and so confident and had it all together. She's just a mom.
Right.
Clue of everything. Yeah. And then to read her own words to herself about her own insecurities and her own struggles and brokenness and regrets and the things she would do differently and the way she would slow down. Like it was just deeply moving to me. Really,
totally.
Really
I've thought the same thing of my mom. Like she made family life and dinners on the table and like just all the things look and feel so effortless. For us, they felt easy. And she showed me recently, like, no, a lot went on behind the scenes that you didn't know about. And it was to create that stability for our family, in those traditions and rhythms. And
I was just having this conversation with someone recently. Like, I can't remember at what age I really started to realize that my mom was a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like their role.
Right.
But I think it was well into my adulthood where I was like, oh my gosh, like you have hopes and dreams. Like you had struggles and disappointments. Like you're a person, not just
mom.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't that funny? And there's something so like it's something so beautiful, but also like heart-wrenching a little that like as you get older, you start to really understand your parents more and know that like they're just like you and they have regrets and they have dreams and they have all the things just like us.
And you appreciate when you have babies what they went through. Like you get it. Like, oh, you did this too. You did this exhaustion thing too. You did this.
I think I've apologized to my mom a lot since becoming a mother.
Yes.
That thing I wore when I was 15, I'm really sorry.
That whole chapter, real sorry for it.
Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, what would you say to your younger self in terms of slowing down and like, so I have to all back up and say, when I sat down to like write the questions for this and like what I wanted to talk to you about, at first I was like, let's talk about organizing and meal planning and how you do life as a busy mom. But like that, there's so much of that that's important. But just like we started off by saying, so much of simplicity in motherhood is perspective.
Yeah.
And if we had the chance to look back at our younger selves, maybe there are women watching this who are younger, who may not have kids yet, or who have itty bitty ones, like, what would you say to them or to you however many years ago?
So I would say to my younger self to ask for help. Um, I am an introvert naturally, so I can isolate pretty easily.
Yeah.
Um, but also, I didn't know what I was doing. None of us know what we're doing when we first have kids. And I read all the books and all the blogs, and like I was on information overload. And
Yeah.
my babies did not follow any of those books or blogs. They just didn't, you know,
Yeah.
which was really hard for me. And I felt like something was wrong with me because I was interacting with women and friends who like everything seemed easy and beautiful. And, you know, that was before Instagram, but it would have been Instagram worthy. And
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like haven't showered in 8 days and I'm wearing the same spit up t-shirt. And I just didn't ask anybody for help. I never like waved my hands to my friends and said, I don't know what I'm doing. And I am a very unhappy baby who won't stop crying and I feel like a failure and I can't stop crying and I probably need antidepressants. Like
Right. Right.
said any of that, I just kind of smiled and soldiered through. And I think I missed out on the strength that women can be to each other in those moments. Like moms sometimes can really just try to soldier through and do it by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much easier if we do it together. It's just so much easier. So I would tell my younger self, my younger mom self, just reach out. Just don't have so much pride and embarrassment just to say, I need help. I don't know how to do this by myself.
Yeah. Amen and amen. I feel the same way. I went through a season, not really when our twins were born, but when they were a little bit older, last year really. They were about a year and a half, where it was just constant chaos here and constant screaming. Like they screamed a lot.
Yeah.
And I fell out of love with Instagram because I was like, nobody wants to see what my life really looks like right now because it's so hard.
Yeah.
Not the Emily Lay brand, which is, don't you love that being a brand?
Right.
It's so hard. And sometimes I want to be like, I'm not her today. Today I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on my couch and like, it's wonderful. If my kids eat Cheerios for all 3 meals, like that's a win today, you know? And in those times for me, it was exactly like you said. Just, I've had a couple friends that, and I read this in your book too, that would be like, I'm coming to your house and I'm coming in, so don't lock the door, and I'm going to save you. So just know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I had a couple friends who kind of saw through my facade and were like, no, ma'am, we're not playing. Like, these sandwiches and I'm going to airlift you out of this dump and you're going to shower first. So
you're going to take a shower. Yeah. And yeah.
Those friends. But you know, that doesn't even change when your kids get older.
Yeah.
That experience. I was just having a conversation with one of Charlie's friends' moms. So we're right in the 8th grade world.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt awkward saying it, but I was like, are you by chance having conversations about such and such at home? Because I'm not really sure what to say to this. And the look of relief on her face, she was like, thank goodness you said that, because I thought we were the only ones dealing with that. And so we were able to, in that moment, like help each other, encourage each other, like bounce stuff off of each other. And had we just tried to like figure it out with ourselves, we missed an opportunity to just really be good friends.
That's such good advice. I mean, just having a tribe of women, and I think when you're a little bit older, it's a little bit older. I mean, when you're like not in college, it's hard to make friends. Like,
for sure.
And I've had good friends through my life. I've had bad friends, but it was when like I found myself and became a little bit more confident. I don't want to say totally confident, but a little bit more confident in like who I am and who I'm not. Yeah. That I allowed myself to be vulnerable with people and made like true, deeply connected friendships with women who are different than me, but like are there to speak life into whatever I'm going through, to be accountability partners, and to just to be there to laugh when everything else feels really heavy, you know?
I think that's one of the most wonderful things about aging, honestly, is it's a very clarifying experience. You start to figure out, nope, I don't need a house this big. No, I do not need all that stuff in that closet. I do not need 12 friends. I need 2 friends. And they're going to be like friends.
Like
know,
one really good friend.
Simplified.
Yeah, totally. Simplifying the friend group.
Yep.
But yeah, having one friend is worth their weight in gold, you know? And we go back to like high school and college when there were like big circles of friends. And I feel like at this stage of my life, that's really difficult to maintain. But,
impossible.
Yeah. But those close friends, yeah, that's so special.
Yeah.
So let's see. So at this point now, you are traveling and you are doing the Moxie Matters tour with Ben Hatmaker. And I love the two of you together because I think your stories and your perspectives and just your personalities are so fun together. And I can't wait to hear everything that you guys are doing. But tell us about Moxie Matters and why you're doing it and why it's important to you.
It has been such a joy. Like we're about halfway through it. And it kind of came out of, we were on a bigger conference last year where I met you at the Belong conference.
Yeah.
And that conference for this year just fell apart. So we kind of were scrambling, like, what can we do to sort of salvage this? And Jen and I just teamed up and we're like, let's do something really intimate and really like kind of the anti-arena tour. Like, let's just do unplugged, you and a piano, me and a microphone, stories, songs, friendship. Like, let's just make it a really chill night for women to come out and just, be themselves, laugh a lot, cry a lot, whatever. Just come as you are.
That is so awesome.
Exactly that. It's been really, really wonderful.
That's so great. Well, I heard you're coming nearby. I heard you're coming to Sarasota. So I'll have to check it out.
That'll be
That's awesome.
Spring, I think.
Good. Well, so at the end of these, so we were going to take some questions in a few minutes, but at the end of these, I try to do a couple of quick questions. So you can just like spout off whatever comes to your brain. And these are like super lighthearted, super fun. Okay. So easy weeknight meal, your favorite thing to make when you're like in a super big hurry, but you're not going out.
Okay. So I'm a big fan of build your own tacos. Like my kids have very different sort of palates, if you will, which is a nice way of saying one eats anything and one eats.
That's my house.
Yeah. So I just put out all the ingredients, shredded cheese, all the tomatoes, lettuce, olives, shells, and it's do however you want to do it. So that's awesome. We do that a lot. My kids are probably real sick of taco night, but that's how we do it.
We do taco night once a week, at least, if not more. And then I drag them to Chipotle all the time. So
for sure.
Burritos for everyone. Yeah. Tell us a really special tradition that you have with your family, be it like a Christmas Eve tradition or a birthday tradition or any kind of tradition that's special to y'all.
Well, my birthday tradition, I fear, is coming to an end because I have a 14-year-old who refuses. But I used to try to capture the moment when they would wake up right on their birthday. Like, this is so psycho, but I would sit by the crib or the bed and just wait for the second their eyes opened, on the morning of their birthday and take a picture so that I got to see.
That's so sweet.
Right. So, but imagine, like, you're 14 and your mom's sitting with the camera by your bed. Like, it's not happening.
That's awesome.
Pepper still does that, but not Charlie. I think one of my other favorites is on Christmas Eve, we go to this restaurant here in Tulsa. It's one of the oldest restaurants. They just like barf Christmas decorations everywhere. It's
nice.
It's like everything's plastic poinsettias and like it's obnoxious and it's wonderful. So we always have dinner there, and then we jump in a limo. This is my one big Christmas splurge. We jump in a limo and drive and see all the Christmas lights. And first we get in our pajamas, then we go see Christmas lights in a limo.
That is so fun.
Yeah. I love that. So let someone else drive.
So I love that you said that you do Christmas Eve out. I haven't told anyone this yet, but this Thanksgiving is a little crazy. My book comes out 2 days beforehand. My dad's retiring the day before my book comes out. My grandfather's not doing too well. So we're going home to Pensacola. And my mom and I were like, what if we just got reservations at our favorite restaurant? And
what if?
And it's our favorite, like, traditional place that every time we go home, we always go to the Grand Marlin in Pensacola. And so we are going there for Thanksgiving, and we're all dressed up and we're not cooking a thing. And I'm so excited.
I love it. It's perfect.
I think, in terms of simplicity, it's the memory and the meaning, especially with this Thanksgiving. Like, who cares if we cook?
It is. It is.
Excuse me.
So, as moms, we're just so married to whatever the tradition is that it loses its joy because it becomes about like we have to do it. It's always been done this way. This is how we're doing it every year. And so kids love it when we mix it up and like, let's go to our favorite restaurant for Thanksgiving. They'll think that's cool.
Totally think it's cool. So this is a big question. This is just me. I'm curious to know when things, and it may not be so much now that your kids are a little older, but when they were little, when things got really chaotic, like this is me describing my life, like things get really loud and maybe everyone's grumpy and like it's just crazy. At my house, we turn on Alexa, the Amazon thing, and we play a Justin Timberlake song and we all dance. And it resets everyone's brains in this toddlerhood stage and it gets us back to like square one. I either do that or I tell them to go sit on the rug by the front door. Yeah. And I'll go sit on the rug and then we all blow on our pizza together. And then we all calm down and we talk about whatever's going on. So do you have a tactic or like a thing that when things get crazy that you're like, okay, guys, here's what we're doing?
Yeah. For me, and this is of course a little bit weather permitting and seasonal, but I always found like if things got crazy and out of control and that level of chaos, I just needed quiet. So I just made it. We just went outside. Like I want the DVR to be turned off. I want the iPad to be turned off. I want noise off. Yeah. And go outside, even if they're in their baby jogger and we're literally walking around the block just to like, okay,
reset.
Sunshine, clouds, nature, and it's to me. Maybe that was more for me than it calmed them down. Like
me too.
Yay! But I was like, I can't handle any more noise. Do any more stimulation.
I have learned that about myself, like in the last couple of years, that I'm sensitive to noise. Like if I'm working, I like to have it completely quiet. And if I'm with the kids, like my husband will have football on and then there'll be the Alexa is playing a song and somebody has something else going that's like dinging and buzzing. And I'm like, whoa, turn all the sounds off.
Yeah. No, totally. Nice. Yeah. Sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I remember when I had little kids, like I would be so desensitized to the noise that sometimes when my daughter would go down for a nap, I would literally find myself folding laundry, sitting on the couch in front of the TV, like actually watching Dora without realizing that I was doing it. Like I didn't even know. I was just like in that catatonic, like folding laundry. She's pulling up a map. I'm watching her.
What happens?
And I was like, I don't have to be watching this. What am I doing? I'm all by myself. What's wrong with me?
I have so done that. Only it's Paw Patrol over here for us right now. It's like, but what happens? Do they save the duck that's on the iceberg? I need to know.
How will I know?
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, Hannah has been grabbing some questions. I've seen a couple, but I think Hannah has some questions for us, and she's over here behind the computer.
Hannah.
What do you do if you can't walk away from your job and you're having a hard time finding a second job?
Okay, so someone asked, what do you do if you have a job, you're looking maybe for something more flexible or more to give you more of what you want in your life, but you can't find something or make the move, and you're stuck. You have a full-time job and you're stuck.
Yeah.
What advice would you have to a mom that's like, I'm stuck, I can't make any changes, what do I do?
Yeah. Well, of course, that's going to be so different, for each person in each situation. So I don't think there's like some overarching like advice that would cover everybody in that moment. Yeah. Also unique.
Yeah.
But I think what I would say was to make sure that your family time really counts. Like, you know what I mean? Like if this is if the job is not great and stressful, but it's something that you just really feel stuck in, just to make sure that there's nothing else like pulling on you or competing with your time at home with your kids. Like, not to steal your thing, but like simplify.
Say no to things, even if they're good, like clear everything away.
A lot of things. Yeah. I mean, even just, I think consumerism can really become such a stressor. For me, when I feel overwhelmed by life, my go-to is just like I just start buying stuff that I don't even need. Like I'm in Target. That's pretty. That's shiny. That, you know, like, and so I have a bunch of stuff I don't want. And now I just spent a bunch of money I don't have. And so I think just really being intentional about your non-work space and your family, I think would maybe be helpful.
I love that. I read, I think it was in your book or in the interview, you were saying like, you always make sure that your family is taken care of, that they are the priority. Even if you have this 40, 80-hour week job, that like they are taken care of, they're the priority. And then you take care of every other thing next and you fit the other things around, you know? And that's such a hard thing to do, but I feel like I totally have lived or try to live the same way, that I take care of them first and then build the rest around it, you know?
Yes. And I mean, just a shout out to like working moms. I mean, that looks different for everybody. I work, you work, right? But like you said, 40 hours a week in an office or whatever, and then you're coming home to the laundry and the homework. Like that is warrior status. Like that is so major. And I just have such respect for women who are doing it. They're doing it. And they're great moms and their kids adore them. And, you know, they're getting up every day and putting in the hard work.
I think the biggest thing in my life that stressed me out the most has been like childcare and what my kids are doing during the day. Are they with me? Are they with someone else? Are they at school? Are they wherever? And over the years, I've learned like that what that looks like will change. But as long as whatever it is, the decision you make for your family, and as long as you're putting their needs first and like putting them where they need to be or having them involved in what they need to be involved in, that is always the right decision, no matter what. Like I've had conversations with friends where it's like, do I send my kids to full day school? Do I send them to daycare? Do we have someone come to our house and help watch them? Or do we, there's all these different things to do. And whatever decision you make for your family, my dad's always said to me, as a parent, make a decision, be confident in that decision and move forward. And feel good knowing you did the best thing. Even if wasn't your like a choice, you did the best thing for your family,
Right. And I think too, also as women, like we're so prone to compare ourselves to other moms out there, stay-at-home moms, working moms, like who's doing it better, who's the most self-sacrificial, who's like volunteering the most. Those, you just have to like just silence those voices. Like you do what's best for your family. And if that is childcare or a nanny or a daycare or staying at home or homeschooling, whatever that's God's plan for your family.
Yeah, your family.
Stop looking at everybody else and what they're doing is really important.
I totally agree. And I think that comparison can be so toxic as confidence, mother confidence that we all need,
That's right.
Yeah. That was a good one. All right. Hannah?
Do you have any advice for a first-time mom who all of their family is like across the country?
Okay, so Matt can answer this one too. So someone asked, do we have any advice for someone who's a first-time mom who doesn't have help around? Like their family is all on the other side of the country or not where they live. Like when you're flying solo. Any tips?
I mean, that was me. I didn't have any family when I had babies. They were way across the country. I think this is probably an oversimplification, but your friends have to become your family. Like that
was my answer too. Totally.
Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. It is, when women say to you, hey, call me if I can ever help you. If I could just come watch the kids for a couple hours while you just go breathe or get a pedicure or whatever, please call me.
We're like, no.
Oh, no, it's fine. Thank you, but no.
Yeah.
Like, do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's their equivalent of like bringing you a meal, is saying, hey, let me help. Let me watch the kids. Let me just sit in here while they're sleeping so you can go be sane for a minute.
Right.
I think you just have to, if you don't have family to lean on, you just have to really kind of trust that when people say they want to help, they mean it.
They mean it. I totally agree. And I think as women, we're so reluctant to receive that.
Right.
Really to receive love like that from friends that are like, I will sacrifice for you because I love you and I want to do this for you. And since we live in Tampa, and Brian's family is about an hour away, but my family is 8 hours away, and it's friends that are family that. I mean, my 6 months after having Brady, my appendix was rupturing, and my good friend Dusty came over to my house, left her 4 kids, and came to watch my one while I went to the emergency room. And she took him for the weekend until everybody could get down here to help. But I mean, to have friends like that, you have to receive it, you know?
Yeah, and it's not a weakness. That is not weakness to receive.
No, that's so special. Good question. All right, Anna.
How do you transition from being a stay-at-home mom to a full-time working mom? I guess like tips for transitioning.
Tips. Okay, so tips for transitioning from being a full-time like stay-at-home mom who's fully doing that to working again. What a good question, and that's a transition I hadn't thought of. What does that look like, and how do you find grace in that for yourself?
Well, I don't know quite how to answer that, because my journey has been like all working mom and then all stay-at-home mom, and now kind of half and half. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know that I have any like practical tips for that kind of transition, other than to have a lot of self-compassion and grace for yourself. Like any transition is hard.
Totally.
Going from stay-at-home mom to working, or working to stay-at-home, whatever it is. Just give yourself some time and space to figure it out. Like, you're gonna drop a few balls. You're gonna make some wrong priority choices that you're gonna have to tweak and adjust, and that's okay. Like, it will take time to figure out the new normal, and no one's gonna die in the process.
Totally agree. Well, this has been so fun. I couldn't thank you enough. And I saw, I have one more quick question for you before we go. But tell me, do you have any like parting words for moms in any season that are just trying to do life well, like trying to love their family well, love their work well if they work, love their laundry well if they're doing laundry, like they're just trying to do life well? Do you have any advice or any tips?
I think that we live in a culture, and I don't know that church culture is any better at this, where we really celebrate the most exhausted woman. Like, I remember growing up in church, it was like, it was always one woman, and she was the one who gave herself away entirely. And we talked about her like she was a saint. Like, well, so-and-so she thinks of herself last. She puts everyone first. She's always the first one to be at the event, the last one to leave. She volunteers, like that. We celebrate exhaustion, especially in the church, I think. And I would say to women of all moms of any age and stage, that it is not selfish to care for yourself. I always just thought being a good mom meant coming in like way last and making sure everybody was great. And then that resentment starts, I suddenly like hate my life.
Right.
So I just think there is no shame in saying to the world, here's a boundary. I'm going to do something nice for myself. It might involve like 30 minutes, but I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm a stronger woman. I'll be a better mom. I'll be a better sister, wife, Christian, friend, all of it. If I pay attention to my own needs too.
That is such good advice. And I feel like it's something I've learned and I'm learning, and it's so hard. But I've learned, just like you said, the more empty I become, the less happy, the less nice I am to be around. The more anxious I get and frazzled and all the things. But when you fill yourself back up, I mean, I've given this example before, but like, I would never let my kids miss a meal. I would die before they missed their lunch. But do you know how many lunches I skipped in those early years? Which is silly,
Right. I know, we're all okay.
Yeah, totally. So take care of yourself for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nichole. This has been an honor to talk to you and such a joy. And I loved, everything you had to say. Guys, go and buy Slow Down. It is so good. I can't recommend it enough. It's actually got lots of really cute photos inside and fill in the blank space, which I love. My team worked on this book as well. So I love it so much. And thanks for writing it, Nichole.
Oh, thank you so much. I love talking to you, Emily.
Well, thank y'all for joining us. Have an awesome Tuesday. We will be back next week. We have Kate Bryan coming on to join me. We're going to talk about something completely different. We're going to talk about simplified beauty routines and closets and all that stuff. So thank y'all. Have a wonderful day.